Okay, so just a little bit of work just to straighten the spine. So let's start with this arms behind the back, just holding the elbows. That'll pull the mid back in and push the sternum up a little bit. And just breathe, breathe, relax, meditate. The same spine, but now from prayer posture. So just using the thumbs to push into the chest and try and push your sternum upwards. And now just reaching up with the hands. Trying to get the sternum to pull up, the spine to sink down. And then just bring the head back and stretch the throat. Hands down. Back where they were. And now just tip the head forwards and really stretch the neck, the back of the neck. Now there's a sense of something flowing up your back and down your front. And then again, up. And then down. So really try and dig your chin into your upper sternum. Just a little bit down from there is where the thymus is. So something flowing up the spine and down the front. And then we go up with the arms again and the flow reverses. So as I go up, sense of something being dragged up the front of the body and something dropping down my spine. And down. And then just up and out. First of all, let's just turn one hand over. Bring the head round to the hand that's looking up. Then reverse the hands and turn the head the other way. The hand that's turning to face down, try and twist it even more so that it is actually facing up, but from right underneath. Both palms are facing up, but the back hand has really twisted round. So that's it, you have to turn your shoulders into it. just start turning a little bit just to get the spine twisting. Good. That's the basic motor. Breathing in, out, open, closed. Not just our basic motor, but the basic motor of everything, really. When we open up and come out, there's this, what we call the attacking spiral. So the elbows dropping and the hands tending to twist like this. When we come back in and close down, this is the yielding spiral. So the elbows tending to come up. So let's just try emphasizing that spiraling. My back is arching here, but not as much as it was. And my back's bowing here. What I want to get is the same thing that's happening in the arms, happening in the legs and the feet. So my legs are twisting. My toes are coming in. My heels are trying to twist out as I do the yielding spiral. And then they just go the other way. The toes trying to twist out as I do the attacking spiral. And again, it's just the figure of 8. The attacking spiral is coming up, the figure of 8. And then the yielding spiral is coming over the top and coming down. Attacking spiral comes underneath the figure of 8, comes up, and the yielding spiral goes over the top and comes down. Into riding horse. And so you can see that riding horse, it's yielding. You're in the middle of a yield, if you like. The elbows are up. The toes are trying to twist out. Sorry, in. So riding horse is very much the back containing the front. What we want to do now is just move from leg to leg. I want to feel it coming from the same mechanism. The attacking, it's got a spiral to it, but as it attacks, it lengthens. So it's like my arms become straight. And then when I yield, effectively, my arms bend, they shrink, as though they shrink by twisting the other way. I want to feel that mechanism moving me. So like we were doing last time, to come into the leg, this leg has to bend. So what I want to feel is that bending having a spiral in it, having a twist. I'm not simply bending the arm, I'm twisting it to bend. And what that will do is pull me this way, because effectively this foot is trying to twist around like that, but it's stuck on the ground. And so what it does, it twists my body the other way. So as I do the yielding spiral in this arm and this leg, it twists me round as though it's rolling me up into a coil, into a spiral. And then when I reverse that, I will twist the other way. This is the attacking spiral that's tending to straighten the leg. So let's just try that a few times, just with the one leg. So I yield, I spiral by trying to twist my toes in. That pulls this hip round towards it. And then I attack, and that rolls me the other way. And then I yield again. That brings me into the foot and rolls me round. And then I attack. So you have to keep most of the weight in this leg, but it's coming maximum amount here in this leg. And then this is really pushing myself out of the leg and then pulling myself back in it. And really the magical thing about the figure of eight is how it beautifully joins the yield and the attack together. So this is what we want to feel here. I reach my maximum of attack and it just can't go anymore. It's like the attack sort of peters out. And so it naturally just pulls back round into the yield. Now I can't yield anymore here. It's got so compressed. And so all it can do is just bounce back out again. Feel this pushing the chest up. So just like when we were sitting down and we were reaching up and down. And then here, this is tending to pull my head over. When I bend my leg, I'm not simply bending it, it contains a spiral. This is what we're trying to feel today. And that spiral, if I let it, will turn my body. Now let's try a little bit with the other leg. So I attack, and that pushes me around this way. And then I yield, which pulls me back this way. In one sense, the attack is easier because it's more natural to twist your toes out than to twist your toes in. But in another sense, the attack is actually quite difficult because I have to straighten this leg without it pushing my body upwards. So I still need to keep a feeling of flowing down. And it's like I'm driving a needle up through that flow when I twist outwards with my toes and roll myself this way. So everything that we do, it only really works because we're good at syncing, because we've been syncing for so long. Chest is up, spine is arching, chest drops, head comes over, spine bows. And now let's put those together in order to get movement from leg to leg. First straightening this leg and then bending. No, I bend this leg, twisting this way, and then I straighten this leg. And now I'm coming into this leg. So I just continue that by yielding with this side of my left side of my body and then attacking. I yield with this side of the body and then attack. I yield with this side of the body and attack. Okay, let's just bring it back. Yes, just feel that this is just exactly the same. Remember, as we came into this foot, we twisted this way and this arm did this. So that's basically the hand that's going behind your back. And this hand is the straightening leg. So that's coming out in front. So it's basically the same thing. What we're trying to concentrate on is the twisting, the spiraling in the arm and the leg, but also the separation of the two legs. Feel as though you're in water, so it's really difficult. Physically, you're really having to work hard just to displace that water. If you had to work hard to move something, then you'd really have to make sure that your feet have the ground. You have a real purchase. Otherwise, your effort to move the thing is more likely to move you in the opposite direction. So there's this sense that I'm catching the ground with my foot as I start the yield. Think of the yielding as pulling. So this is one of the problems, I think, with what we learned, is that yielding was simply a reaction to the other person. So as they pushed, I just gave way. Really think it has to be more active. So it's like I reach and I actively pull that person, like I'm really yanking them towards me. And then I have to do the same with the ground. So my foot has to expand and then catch the ground to make sure that the effort that's going into my arm doesn't actually pull me off balance. try just a bit of that circly one. But again, just trying to, so rather than doing this and getting it all coming from the spine, bending and coming back up again, we're trying to keep the spine almost in position, and it all comes from my legs. So if I want my hands to drop, I have to bend my legs. It's actually really difficult. So the last thing we want to do is bend the legs. And just feel that when you do bend the legs and get them really involved, reality changes. It changes the way you feel. It rises the spirit. You become charged up and more capable. And then just coming the other way. And then just wind it in. And now let's try that, the one where we make the ward off, but we'll sort of continue it. Bringing the hand in like we were doing, bringing the arm out and really opening at the shoulder and extending down the arm. And then yielding. So this is all just getting my arm out and entering. And then I'm going to yield. I want to feel that yield as a pull, like I'm pulling something that just won't really move. That what that does, it pulls this out even more because my body's trying to twist that way and my arm won't really budge. And then slowly the hand starts coming. The arm goes out and then I'm pulling. So this is how I do pushing hands. We don't do pushing hands, we do pulling hands. The problem with pushing hands is that the person yielding tends to anticipate. They tend to know that that person's going to push, and so they just drift. John was always testing me when we pushed hands. He'd push and then he'd stop. And of course, I would continue. And then he'd just look scornfully. Here, I'm just reaching out, extending my arm as much as I can, and then I'm pulling something. So has to have a strength. And it's the same feeling that we had in the foot when we were just doing that exercise. The foot has to catch, because if I'm pulling something and it doesn't move and I'm not secure on the ground, as I pull it, it will tend to pull me towards it. So I need the ground. So let's try. So I reach forwards and then I pull. I'm just doing this twisting spiral. This foot is trying to twist this way and I'm turning this way, but with a feeling that I'm actually pulling something that's difficult to move. And then this one goes out. If I have to grip that person and I have to grip that ground, and then I'm effectively just pulling those two grips, the hand and the foot, towards each other. And what it does as I pull here, it really pulls the shoulder blade away from the spine, which is what we want, and opens up this space here beneath my collarbone. So the important bit is the going over the top of the figure of eight. So as my entering reverses and becomes the pull, I want to feel this, my shoulder sort of coming up. It's almost hunching up by my ear as I start the pull. That's the part that has power. That really affects the other person. And now let's just turn it into this, because this is basically what that exercise is. And just go a little bit quicker so you get a real sense of sort of disappearing into the center of your circle. And now let's try this. I want to feel it's just the same, really. This hand is reaching forwards, and then, so let's try it with the attacking and yielding spirals, which we tend not to do. So here, as I go back, this is reaching forwards, and then I yield. When I yield with my left hand, I get drawn into my left foot. My right leg straightens and bends. My left leg straightens and bends. The straightening leg is like stretching elastic. It eventually wants to pull back. And then the bending leg is like compressing rubber. Eventually it wants to bounce back. It's basically just two figures of eights. Coming down the figure of eight here is my yielding. Coming up the figure of eight here is my attacking. Let's change the feet. Now let's just start off doing it the way we normally do it. See the way we normally do it? My attack is basically a yielding spiral, and my yield is basically an attacking spiral. So that will tend to sort of subdue it and make it more peaceful, more like a relaxation exercise. And then just let it become what we've just been doing. The two active parts of the figure of eight are just the top and the bottom. So here, that's really the yield. The yield is all over here. I've just gone over the top of the figure of eight. The rest is just me following through so that I can get to the bottom of the figure of eight. And then that is the attack. If it gets confused, and just remember, you want the arm and the leg to do exactly the same thing on the same side of the body. Here, my arm and my leg straightening and twisting this way, which is tending to roll me around here. And then they yield. They go over the top and they twist the other way, and I bend the leg and bend the arm. Let's just try just at the beginning of the form. So maybe up to the crossing hands. Just make sure this is all loose. I always start off the form now by just doing this. Make sure my tail and my hips are loose. Let's just try the first postures. Now with this feeling that when we yield, we're actually pulling something that's difficult to move. I'll mention it when we get there. So here, I'm pulling. I allow it to move my body. So it's like there's a branch of a tree here or something, and I pull it, and that moves me across into the foot. And here I enter, and now I want this feeling that I'm actually holding something and trying to pull it. So I have to really catch the ground with this foot. Remember, as this arm is straightening to enter, this leg is also straightening, and the toes are opening, and then this is pulling. Even though I'm sinking in this foot, mechanically what's happening in the form is you're pulling here. And then this hand comes underneath, and then I step and walk, and then again I'm pulling here. And then I turn this way, and now I want this feeling that I'm pulling something. So I really have to catch the ground here, otherwise that pull is liable to pull me towards it. So I pull, this hand comes in, and then scissor and follow through. And then in the rollback, it's most clear in a way. Pull here with this left hand. But remember, it's my back leg that's going to pull as well. That foot needs to instantly grip the ground as soon as it starts pulling. And then I just turn. Now this is a pull here with this hand. I'm pulling myself round, and that swings this arm in with a push. And then as I go back, I'm pulling with this hand. This is attacking, pulling with this hand. This is attacking. And now pulling with this hand for the single whip. I come round, and now I pull with this hand. This goes out. And again, I'm pulling here. So you really feel it on single whip. It's like, I'm pulling myself into that front foot. Okay, so let's finish. The legs are working. The legs are doing this. We just need to practice that enough so that it really feels like the two legs are separate and in some way independent of each other. So keeping to a yielding mind, in a sense, what you're doing, both feet are always trying to claim the ground. They're sort of squabbling. So in one sense, the net result of that is that I'm sort of in the middle. But really, the net result is that I'm never in the middle. I'm either here or I'm here, I'm here or I'm here. So this is very important in Tai Chi, this sense that you can switch your mind instantly from one to the other. And that's just spirit. Spirit is infinitely quick.